Welcome back, guys. So we've had some news drop in the past couple of days, considering we have the pre-releases for Attack on Titan Origins of Power. There have been a few Day Zero erratas, and a couple of new rules changes, as well as some changes to Redemption going forward that I wanted to kind of go over. And I didn't want to make two videos, I just felt I could roll all this into one since all of these changes are kind of dealing with Origins of Power. First is the errata and rules update. So the following cards will be receiving an errata upon release: Blindside Slash, The Ripper Arrives, and Determined Dive. So for Blindside Slash, this is a really cool Mikasa Ultra. And at the old, it says, discard one card, response at the start of your end phase, add this card to your hand. They clean this up to say card pool as a response in your card pool, as opposed to, hey, it's in my discard pile, so I can discard a card and pick it up at the start of my end phase. So just a bit of clearing up text. The location requirement was missing, so they're putting it back so it works the way that it was intended. Pretty simple. The Ripper Arrives. So this is a Kenny Ackerman card. Blitz, discard a card, your rival discards a card. Response, after this attack resolves, if it received a speed and damage bonus, your next attack is +2 speed, +2 damage. It did not have any keywords, and now it will be treated as having the ranged keyword. So, pretty good. He does work with ranged and weapon cards, so it makes sense that they wouldn't give him an ultra rare that doesn't have those. That would make kind of not a lot of sense. Somehow the ranged keyword went missing. Well, I'm not one to speculate on that, but they're fixing it now, so that's good. And for Determined Dive, this one. So if you can't, hello Sam. If you can't see what's wrong here, I'll help point it out to you. If you have a wall token in your stage, they mean wall counter. It had the wrong word. It is meant to be played with wall counter cards, so they just changed it to say wall counter instead of wall token, since we don't have tokens. And for the rules update, this is the one where, well, part of it, this is where things get a little rough, because a lot of players are mad about this. With the launch of Attack on Titan Origins of Power, they're releasing a new mechanic as well as making a change to the current game rule. The change is as follows. Players will no longer be able to commit their character as if it were a foundation to play commit one foundation costs. Now, if you're a newer player, unless you've heard one of your other players or maybe someone like me say this, you might not have known that you could do that. Everyone knows you can commit your character when passing checks, but yeah, if you have a cost that is commit one foundation or like commit two foundations, you were allowed to commit your character as well in place of one of those foundations. However, they cannot be committed for stun because they're still not foundations. So, and I'm not going to read all of this verbatim, but you will still be able to commit your character to help pass checks, but because the characters are not foundations, they cannot be committed for stun effects, because stun is your rival commits one foundation. So it's rather unintuitive that unless you know, you just don't know. So it's easier for newer players, and it helps ease some of that confusion of, well, I can commit it as a foundation as a cost, but not for a stun effect because it's not a foundation, even though I can commit it as if it were a foundation for costs that need me to commit foundations. It's tricky, right? Like, you hear me saying it out loud, and it's tricky. Granted, there were some characters in the past who wanted to be committed and then readied. Like Tira 2, for example. Cart Titan. The way Cart Titan had their order of operations as the cost of their form written, you could technically ready Cart Titan and then commit Cart Titan and commit a rival foundation. Then ready Cart Titan, commit Cart Titan, commit a rival foundation, and basically turn your rival's whole stage sideways with one effect. That's highly abusable and incredibly toxic. I'm pretty sure they did not intend for Cart Titan to work that way. But this, I know a lot of people say, you're punishing characters and you're punishing players for making a bad character. For UVS games making a bad character or a broken character. But yeah, some of my people who have played this game with me for years didn't know this until a couple months ago, that you could commit your character as a cost for committing one foundation. Even though I'm pretty sure I've told them before, sometimes obscure rules go in one ear out the other. This is also a thing that they said in like the big living game rules that isn't exactly readily available unless you go digging into that giant document, that you wouldn't have known something like this. It's not readily available information. It can be kind of feel bad if it turns into like a gotcha moment on a new player. So while, I'll be honest, I don't care. I don't care that I can't commit my character to pay a commit one foundation cost. It's not a foundation. I do agree that you can still commit them to pay the help pass your checks. I like that. But I'm not too bothered by this. I know a lot of people in the community are, but it's just not that big a deal to me. It helps clean this up. It's not a tricky thing that we have to constantly tell new people, well, I use stun. No, you can't commit your character. But if you have an effect that commits a foundation as a cost, you can commit your character even though it's not a foundation. It clears up a lot of that confusion for newer players, and as a channel more directed at newer players, maybe I have some bias, but I'm not as upset about this as other people might be. And then they also go into Outwit, which is just the response restriction that tells you how to unflip and commit a foundation in your stage to play an Outwit ability. So, yeah, I will leave a link to... Oh, yeah, we have next month's ban and errata, or this month's ban and errata list next month. And this whole not being able to commit your character as if it were a foundation goes into effect November 1st, which was yesterday. So as of now, you're no longer allowed to commit your character to pay costs that are commit one foundation costs. On to the redemption. This one's a little bit more weird. Starting in the first week of November, they're making some updates to Booster Packaging Redemption Program as part of a larger initiative at UVS Games to find new and improved ways to reward loyalty points. Thankfully, the current program is not immediately going away. We'll get into that. They'll be shifting from packaging redemption program to digital redemption codes starting in quarter 3 of 2025. So next year, mid to late next year. What this means is, I just filmed my box opening video and I should have kept a pack. But the packs have either a skull, if it's an older set, or an orange tag that says eligible for redemption. And what you would normally do is you would save those packs up until you could send them in sets of 30, and you would mail them to UVS Games, and for each pack, you would get 1 loyalty point to use on the loyalty store on the UVS game, play.uvs games site. But now what they're going to be doing is doing redemption codes on products. So you'll receive 24 LP per code found within sealed boxes of boosters, equivalent to redeeming 24 individual booster packs under the original program. I don't know if that means you only get the codes if you buy a box. I don't know if you can still get codes on like the actual packs, like maybe something you can scan or type in. Maybe packs will have an additional little insert, like how some packs have like a QR code, like, hey, play this game or learn how to play this. That will have your code for redemption on it. They don't give us a lot of information. They will say that the last booster set to qualify for redemption programming is Attack on Titan Origins of Power. So this is the last product that will have the eligible for redemption printed on the pack. They will still accept mail-in redemptions until March 31st of next year. So store up all your packs and send one big wave in to UVS Games. Make sure you packages received after this date will not be counted for LP. So make sure that when you gather up the last of your stuff, your last packs have to be mailed in before March 31st. They have to arrive at UVS Games before March 31st. However, they will still have on-site redemption at stuff like regionals and nationals until the end of February 2026, which is odd, but I guess that allows you to, if you still have to buy some things to make up for, since you have to turn them in packs of 30, it gives you more time if you buy older sets. Qualifying booster packaging must still be from products before or up to Attack on Titan Origins of Power. The mail-in process is still the same. You can still redeem booster package at regionals and national level events through February 2026. New redemption program will start early Q3 2025. There's a brief period where certain UVS booster sets will not be eligible for redemption. These would be sets like Critical Role, and I believe the next set after that is the next Attack on Titan, the final Attack on Titan booster, the Apocalypse, I believe, or Armageddon, one of those two. So those two will not be available for redemption. You'll just throw those away, I guess. I do have some thoughts on this, because one of the things I did like about this game, and I still do, is the redemption, mailing in the packs, because they told us when I started that they recycle them. I thought that was really good. And it makes you feel like you're getting more bang for your buck, which if you can still redeem codes per pack as opposed to per box, that's still there. It does provide more waste, of course, because you're now still throwing your packaging away. But I can see that as the game grows and they release more products and they get more players who are then sending more, let's call it what is, trash back to UVS Games, maybe it's getting to the point where they can't handle the transfer. Like maybe they would have to hire a whole bunch of people just for hand counting redemptions and dealing with all of that. So maybe doing it like this, where you're just typing in a code and uploading it straight to your account, it does sound easier, both for the player and for UVS Games. You don't have to mail the stuff in, so you don't have to pay the shipping costs, because you're already paying shipping costs to get your cards from the loyalty store. So you're not paying to ship all that stuff out, and you're not having to just store it until you have enough to justify sending that package. So it has its ups and downs. I think, as with most things, I'm going to wait on this until I get more information. Like I said, a 24 point per code found within sealed boxes of boosters. If that just means that you can only get points by buying boxes, I don't agree with that. Because with some of your younger players, or players who might not be able to afford as much, buying boxes or cases, I don't think that's okay. I don't think that's right. I hope that there's a way, either a randomized serial number on each pack, or like a QR code or something that you can scan on each pack, or have an insert in each pack, like an additional little card, so that you can still get, even if it's like, hey, I can only afford like 2 or 3 packs this week, but I can still get my points. I still get that extra bang for my buck. I think it'd be okay if we get stuff per pack as opposed to per box. And what this could open up is codes on things like Challenger Series or Clash decks, starter decks, where you can scan that code and maybe get 10 points for buying one of those products. You're getting points for each product as opposed to just packs or just booster boxes. Maybe if you buy a mat, you get one of their mats that are in the tube. Maybe there's an insert in there that gets you like 40 points. I think that could be really, really cool. as a way to also entice people to buy more than just the boosters. You know, here, buy a starter deck, and hey, you're a new player, you get to buy your starter deck, and you get 40 points, or 20 points that you can start off to try to get, or like 30, whatever the minimum for one card is. You know, you get 30 points just for buying the starter deck, so you get a starter deck, and you can get a card from the loyalty store. I think that would be a really cool way to do this moving forward, and like I said, they've got until Q3 of, where is it? Q3 of 2025. So they've got until mid to late next year to hammer this out. UVS Games, if you guys are watching, point things on all of your products would probably help drive sales, especially among newer players, because they get more for their money. And I think that would really be something special that they could do. But yeah, so that's the new changes and the new rules. We will have a ban list possibly next week as of time of recording, which I'll probably make a new video on that. And if we have any more erratas, I will make sure to let you guys know. And until next time, take care.